Okay, please wait. We'll start about a minute. Okay. A second. Okay, since now already 2 o'clock, let us start our event. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 2026 International Youth Talk. My name is Chacha, and I will be the master of ceremony for today's event. Okay, so for today, we will discuss about ecological protection. Can sorting trash truly change the world? But before we go to the next sessions, I would like to remind all participants to open your camera and don't forget to use our virtual background that can be downloaded on the chat box to make our event more engaging and interactive. And since today we will have 5 teams, so I think we will in our sessions at 4 p.m. Indonesian time or 5 p.m. Malaysia time. Okay, next, let's go to the next agenda. Okay. Before we go to our main session, I would like to introduce a bit about our event. So, the International Youth Talk is a dynamic online platform dedicated to empowering the global youth community to take an active role in shaping a sustainable future. Organized by Simeo Tad, UNESCO International Research and Training Center for Rural Development, or INROL, and co-hosted by the Southeast Asia Youth Sustainable Development Foundations, or PASITA. This initiative serves as a flagship program under the China-ASEAN Technical Education Cooperation. Through collaborative efforts, the program fosters meaningful dialogue, cross-cultural understanding, and innovative solutions among young leaders worldwide, inspiring them to contribute to global sustainability goals. Okay, so for today's schedule or the flow of the events, so the first agenda is presenter school. So I will introduce our all of our presenter schools, and then the next agenda is opening remark from Simiotat, and then for the next agenda is presentation session 1, and followed by the Q&A sessions, and then next would be presentation session 2, and then followed by the Q&A sessions 2. And then for the last agenda is group photo and closing. Okay, so for today's event, we will have 5 amazing schools. So for our first speaker, we will have student from Korean Vocational College Malaysia, and then for our second speaker, we will have student from John B. Lacson College Foundation, the Philippines, and then for our third speaker, we will have students from Universitas Tanjung Pura, Indonesia. And then for our fourth speaker, we will have student from University Technology Brunei. And then for our last speaker, we will have student from Sobhanovong University, Laos. Okay, but before we go to our main sessions or our main agenda, we'll have opening remark first from Mr. Pomara. Okay. Mr. Pomara, are you already here with us? Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Mr. Pomara is the head of technical educations and training division of Simiotet. Okay, without any further ado, to Mr. Pomara, time and screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chacha. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Okay,
hear you
great.
clearly.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, our speakers and all the participants. Very warm greeting from Phnom Penh, Cambodia. I hope everyone is great. It is my honor and pleasure to deliver the opening remarks on behalf of Dr. Song Hyang Ai, our center director. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to the 2026 5th International Youth Talk on the topic of Can Sorting Trash Really Change the World? Today's topic may sound simple, but it carries a very important message. Small actions, when practiced consistently, maybe by many people, can create a big impact on our communities and, of course, our planet. Waste sorting is not only about cleanliness, it is about responsibility, sustainability, and building a better future for the next generation. We are especially encouraged to see young people from different countries coming together to exchange ideas, share experiences, and inspire one another. Through discussions like this, we strengthen global friendships, encourage practical actions toward environmental protection and sustainable development. I would like to express my appreciation to our partners, the organizers, our wonderful speakers, and all the participants for your valuable contribution to today's program. I hope this session will inspire all of us to think more deeply how everyday action can contribute to positive changes to the environment we share. With that, I wish everybody a productive and engaging forum. Till next time, thank you. Back to you, Ms. Chacha.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Pomara, for the warm welcome. Okay, let's go to the next agenda. Okay, so welcome to our main sessions. So for today's topic is ecological protection. Can sorting trash really change the world? So every presenter is adjusted to explain topic from different perspective. Next, for the first round, we will have three teams. So the first speaker will be from a student from Korean Vocational College Malaysia, and then for the second speaker will be from John B. Lexon College Foundation, the Philippines, and then for the last speaker for the first sessions is Universitas Tanjung Pura, Indonesia. Okay. Okay, so for the first team, we will have student from Korean Vocational College Malaysia. We will have Miss Nur Airin Alia binti Muhammad Ezrin Shah, and then Mr. Shahir Shahmi bin Salehuddin, and also Miss Nurin Irina binti Sahrul Nizam. Okay, are you guys already here with us, Malaysia team? Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi. Okay, nice. You guys looks great. Okay, without any further ado, the time and screen is yours. You guys have 8.
Okay.
Good evening to the panel members. Good evening to the panel members. I am Shahid Shahmi. On my right is Nur Aini Alia, and this is Nurin Idrina. We are from Korean Vocational College, Malaysia. Today, we will present our topic title, Ecological Protection. Can sorting trash really change the world? Today, more than 2 billion tons of waste are being generated every year around the world. And this figure continues to increase rapidly, creating a serious environmental concern. This leads us to the importance of understanding waste management and its environmental impact clearly, which we will explain throughout this presentation. As countries around the world search for better solutions, Malaysia has also taken important steps to improve its waste management system.
To begin, Malaysia is gradually transforming waste into a valuable resource efficiently rather than treating it only as a disposal issue. The country has achieved 37.9% recycling rate, reflecting strong national progress. This demonstrates that waste management is contributing to environmental sustainability effectively. Building on this progress, we now look at the foundation of the system, which is trash sorting.
Trash sorting refers to separating waste at the source into categories such as plastic, paper, food waste, and electronic waste. Since the introduction of separation at source policy in 2015, recycling rates have significantly increased from 15.7% in 2015 to 37.9% in 2024. This clearly shows that waste sorting is the fundamental system of an effective waste management approach.
Malaysia recycling performance has more than doubled significantly since 2015. This improvement is driven by a strong environmental policies, improved system, and increasing public participation. As a result, more recyclable materials are being recovered and redirected away from landfill safely into proper recycling system.
Focusing on electronic waste, Malaysia has developed a structured national e-waste system under the Department of Environment. More than 536,000 tons have been processed through 13 licensed facilities nationwide. This is important because e-waste contains valuable materials such as gold and copper, making recycling both environmentally and economically highly beneficial.
Used cooking oil is collected and converted into biodiesel through a chemical process. Malaysia produces over 500,000 tons of biodiesel annually, showing high recycling potential. This process can significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 85%, while also reducing environmental.
Trash sorting significantly improve recycling efficiency by preventing contamination at the source. Malaysia has the potential to recover up to 291 million ringgit annually in recyclable materials. It also helps reduce landfill dependency, improve environmental quality, and support a more sustainable system overall.
Malaysia promotes the 3R concept system, which includes reduce, reuse, and recycle. The government has set a 40% national recycling target and introduced various structured initiatives. At the same time, public participation continues to steadily increase through awareness campaigns and community programs. However, despite these positive efforts and improvements, several major waste management challenges still remain in Malaysia today.
Currently, Malaysia generates around 39,000 tons daily of waste. Each person produces about 1.17 kilograms per day, with food waste forming the largest component. A large amount of waste is still sent to landfill, many of which are approaching critical capacity, highlighting the need for improved systems. Therefore, to understand how these challenges can be managed more effectively, it is useful to study successful waste management systems implemented in other countries.
Sorry, I think you forgot to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry. All right.
No worries. Please continue.
One strong example is South Korea, which use RFID smart bin technology to track household food waste. Residents are charged based on waste amount through a pay-as-you-throw system. This encourages people to significantly improve recycling efficiency. This encourages people to significantly reduce waste generation and improve sorting behavior, supported by advanced tracking system and strict enforcement.
From South Korea's experience,
As a result, South Korea achieved a 49% recycling rate, one of the highest in Asia. Food waste has been significantly reduced, and and landfill usage has also decreased steadily due to higher recycling efficiency. This demonstrates the effectiveness of well-structured national system.
From South Korea's experience, effective waste management depends on both human behavior change and advanced technology systems. When individuals take responsibility, waste generation tends to significantly decrease and sorting practices improve. In addition, smart systems improve efficiency and accuracy. For Malaysia, this highlights the importance of strengthening awareness and implementing modern technological solutions into waste management systems.
In conclusion, better trash sorting can create significant environmental and economic benefits. Studies show that effective trash management systems can reduce landfill waste by up to 80%, especially when waste is properly separated at the source. It can also reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 85%, contributing to global environmental improvement. Furthermore, proper sorting supports a strong circular economy where materials are continuously reused instead of discarded. Ultimately, trash should not be seen as the end of the process, but the beginning of resource recovery. The real question is not whether change is possible, but whether it will be implemented consistently and effectively. Because small actions such as trash sorting can create a long-lasting global impact. Thank you.
Oh, nice. Okay, great. Thank you to the team from Korean Vocational College for the insightful presentations. Yeah, I think it was very interesting to learn how recycling growth and e-waste management can support a more sustainable future and create positive environmental impact. That's very cool. Okay, next let's go to the next speaker. Wait a second. Okay, wait a second, sorry. Okay. Once again, thank you so much for Malaysia team. Next, let's move to our second speaker. We will have student from John B. Lexington College Foundations, the Philippines. Okay, so we will have Mr. Ray Angelo Astias and then Mr. Franz John G. Astors and also Mr. Danny Christian L. Humayo. Okay, are you guys already here? Can you guys say hi?
Good day, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Okay, without any further ado, the time and screen is yours.
Sir, you're still muted.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are maritime students from John B. Locson Colleges Foundation, Bacolod, Philippines. I am Midshipman Ray Angelo Diaz, together with Midshipman Franz John Astors and Midshipman Danny Christian Umaya. Today, we are going to be discussing marine pollution and plastic waste, the connection between trash sorting and protecting oceans in marine life. To begin with, marine pollution and plastic waste reflect one of the greatest contradictions of modern society. Humanity depends on the oceans for life, yet continues to treat them as dumping grounds for convenience and consumption. According to the United Nations, around 19 to 23 million tons of plastic waste enter aquatic ecosystems annually, damaging marine and coastal environments and contaminating marine food chains with microplastics. If current trends continue, experts warn that plastic pollution in the ocean could nearly triple by 2040. But how did the oceans become one of the world's largest dumping grounds? The answer lies in modern convenience. Plastic is cheap, durable, and easy to mass produce. You can say in many ways, plastic helped build modern life. The problem is that most plastic products are used only for a few minutes but takes centuries to decompose. And when it's thrown away, it rarely stays in one place. So can this problem still be solved? Experts say that marine pollution will require a collective action, from stronger government policies and sustainable business practices to everyday habits like recycling, reducing plastic use, and properly sorting waste.
The oceans cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface and produces more half of the oxygen we breathe. Humanity depends on them every single day, and if we fail to protect them, we are not just harming the ocean, but we are also putting our own survival at risk.
And with that, we have learned the growing problem of plastic waste in our oceans. But let us first discuss what marine pollution really is and why it has become a serious environmental concern today. Marine pollution happens when harmful substances and waste enter our oceans and other marine environments. These pollutants originate from a wide range of sources, including land activities and even the maritime activities, such as shipping operations and fishing. Some common pollutants include plastics, chemicals, sewage, oil spills, and industrial waste. According to the data presented by the Problem of Marine Plastic Pollution, around 80% of ocean pollution actually comes from land-based sources. And one of the biggest problems identified today is the plastic pollution. This plastic harms the marine ecosystem, damage the coral reefs, and threaten both marine animals and human health. So in simple terms, marine pollution disrupts the natural balance of the ocean and creates long-term environmental problems. And with that, we have learned the growing problem of marine pollution in our planet. And now, it is equally important to further look, identify, and understand the root sources of this problem.
In this slide, we tackle the various sources of ocean waste. When we talk about marine pollution, many people imagine huge oil spills or factories dumping waste into the ocean. However, the truth is, a large amount of ocean waste actually begins on land, and often from our everyday habits. A candy wrapper thrown in the street and a plastic bottle left behind can all end up in drainage systems, rivers, and eventually the sea. In urban areas, litter is carried by rainwater into canals and waterways. In agriculture and industries, chemicals and waste products flow into rivers that connect to the ocean. At sea, abandoned fishing gear becomes what we call ghost nets, which continue to trap fish, turtles, and other marine animals even when not in use. Also, we have shipping activities that contribute to debris that harms marine ecosystems. Moreover, plastic waste is one of the biggest threats to our oceans today. Plastics or glass bottles, cans, and single-use plastics often pollute beaches and coastal areas, harming marine life and ecosystems. The World Bank's 2021 report stated that in the Philippines, sachets greatly contribute to pollution because they are difficult to recycle and they're often improperly discarded. Ghost nets also endanger marine animals by trapping fish and turtles, even when they are abandoned at sea. According to Paler's 2020 report, these problems worsen due to improper waste disposal and poor waste management practices.
With that being said, most of the marine waste comes from land-based sources. But how does plastics from our streets and communities actually reach the sea? When plastic is improperly thrown away, it doesn't stay in one place. Instead, rain carries it into drainage systems and waterways. And it even gets worse during heavy rain in typhoons, because floodwaters sweep plastic waste into rivers and coastal areas, pushing huge amounts of pollution toward the sea. As a result, rivers are now considered one of the biggest pathways of ocean plastic pollution worldwide. According to a research study published in Nature Communications, it is estimated that between 1 to 2 million metric tons of plastic waste enter oceans annually through rivers alone. And urban rivers, especially in densely populated cities with poor waste management systems, are among the biggest sources of plastic pollution that enters the ocean.
Since plastics could easily reach oceans, and according to the data presented by the Whale and Dolphin Organization, up to 13 million tons of plastic end up in ocean every year. Hence, it has become a serious threat to marine today. Many animals, such as sea turtles, mistake plastic bags for jellyfish, causing them to accidentally eat plastics. Once consumed, these plastics could block their stomachs and eventually lead to starvation or death. Fish and seabirds also consume microplastics, which contain harmful chemicals that can enter their bodies and affect their health. Another serious problem today is called the entanglement. Animals like dolphins, seals, and sea turtles can become trapped in ghost nets or fishing nets and plastic ropes, making it difficult for them to swim, to hunt, or even to breathe properly. So because of this, millions of marine animals are affected every year, showing how dangerous improper waste disposal can be to ocean life.
Marine pollution is one of the biggest environmental problems we face today. It does not only harm our oceans, but it also affects ecosystems, livelihoods, and even human health. Every year, tons of waste such as plastics, chemicals, and oil spills enter the sea, causing serious damage to marine life. One major victim of marine pollution is coral reefs. Coral reefs are home to thousands of marine species, but pollution weakens and destroys them, making it difficult for fish and other sea creatures to survive. Oil spills are also very dangerous because they block sunlight underwater, preventing our plants and corals from growing properly. Another growing problem is microplastics. Tiny plastic particles contaminate seafood that people eventually eat. As toxic substances move through the food chain, both marine animals and humans are put at risk. This can lead to serious health problems and long-term environmental damage. Marine pollution, on the other hand, can also affect our economy. Coastal communities that depend on tourism and fishing lose income because polluted beaches and damaged marine ecosystems reduces visitors and fish populations. In the end, marine pollution is not only a threat to marine life, but also to human health and future generations. We must work together by reducing plastic waste, protecting our oceans, and practicing responsible environmental habits. If we act now, we can help preserve our seas for the future.
When waste is not properly segregated, garbage often ends up in open dumps, drainage systems, and rivers that eventually carry plastics straight into the sea. But when communities sort their waste correctly, that chain of pollution can be interrupted at the source. Waste segregation also improves recycling and waste recovery. Plastics, metals, and paper can be processed and reused. At the same time, biodegradable waste can be composted, which reduces contamination and lowers the total amount of unmanaged trash piling up in landfills and leaking into rivers. Additionally, proper segregation keeps recyclable and hazardous waste out of those waterways before pollution even begins. This matters because, as I have said earlier, rivers are one of the largest pathways transporting plastic into marine ecosystems. And while sorting trash may seem like a small daily habit, its impact is massive. Communities that practice responsible waste management not only reduce pollution, but also help protect marine biodiversity and create cleaner environments for future generations. Now let us move on to the benefits of recycling. Every time plastic is recycled, the demand for raw materials like petroleum and natural gas, which are used heavily in creating plastic, is decreased. Instead of extracting new resources to produce more plastic, manufacturers can reuse materials already in circulation, which conserves energy and reduce environmental strain. Recycling also cuts down the massive volume of waste entering landfills. Processed plastic can be transformed into new products rather than being discarded, where they can eventually leak into rivers and oceans. But the bigger picture of this is sustainability. Recycling supports a circular economy, a system where materials are reused instead of thrown away after a single use. That shift encourages more responsible consumption and reduces long-term pressure on the environment. Because in the end, every piece of waste we choose to sort, reuse, and recycle is not just a small act. It is a decision about the kind of world we leave behind for future generations.
Protecting and conserving the ocean depend on us humans. Even simple actions from individuals and communities could already make a big difference. At home, proper waste segregation is very important. Separating biodegradable, recyclable, and non-recyclable waste could help reduce the amounts of trash that reaches rivers and oceans. Communities and schools could also organize coastal cleanup activities, recycling programs, and environmental awareness campaigns to encourage people as well as students to be mindful of their waste and practice proper waste segregation.
So, sorry, for the Philippines team, maybe you can wrap up for about a minute. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Meanwhile, governments and organizations could also help reduce pollution by implementing environmental laws and policies, as well as creating new technologies. When individuals, communities, and governments work together, protecting the marine ecosystem becomes more possible and effective.
In conclusion, protecting our oceans is a shared global responsibility. Marine pollution affects not only sea animals, but also human health, livelihoods, and future generations. Everyone must do their part in protecting the environment. One of the simplest ways we can help is by practicing proper waste segregation every day. By disposing of waste correctly and reducing single-use plastic use, we can reduce the amount of trash that reaches rivers and oceans. Small habits, such as reusable bags and bottles, can already make a big difference. We can also participate in community cleanups and support recycling programs that promotes environmental awareness and sustainability. Supporting environmental laws is equally important to controlling pollution and protecting marine ecosystems. Even simple, responsible choices in our daily lives can lead to lasting environmental change. If we work together, we can help preserve our oceans and protect marine life for future generations.
Okay, I think that's all. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you to the team from John B. Lexon College Foundations for the meaningful presentations. I think your explanations about marine pollutions reminded us how important waste sorting is for protecting oceans and marine life for future generations. And I personally learned a lot today about marine pollutions. Okay, without any further ado, let's go to the next speaker. Wait a second, let me share my screen. Okay, once again, thank you so much for the Philippines team. Next, let's move on to our last speaker for the presentations. We will have student from Universitas Tanjung Pura, Indonesia. We will have Miss Naura Aulianur, and then Mr. Muhammad Abizar Januarta, and also Miss Faras Dewari Mirinda. Okay, are you guys already here with us? Can you guys say hi? Thank. I cannot hear you. Can you guys say hi?
Greeting.
Okay, okay. I can hear you now, but wait a
We
second.
are from Tanjung Pura University.
Yes. Okay, without any further ado, to Universitas Tanjung Pura team, the time and screen is yours.
everyone. Welcome to Crescent Universitas Tanjungpura from Pontianak, Indonesia. Today, I will show you how we can scale small actions to change the world through circular engineering. Okay, let's look at the problem. Most universities use a broken system, which is a collect, how, and dump. When we mix trash at the source, all sorting efforts are wasted. Hauling empty plastic bottles means we are paying to transport fresh air, which triple the cost. Even worse, organic waste ends up in freaking landfills and dangerous methane gas. This is systematic.
Okay, Miss, I think you okay. Yeah, you may continue, guys. But if you guys have any difficulties, just let us know, yeah? I will help you.
All right, so sorry for the delay. So for the Untan Hub case study, we chose for the place to do our research in the library and conference building. Why we did that is because every single day, this is the most popular place in Tanjung Pura University. So there are around 5,000 daily visitors. Due to the nature of the place being a academic, so most of the waste generated are plastic and paper. So this as a target zone for our testing becomes high intensity, and we have absolutely map the whole waste output of the conference hall.
Okay, our solution is the eco-green system and LBM engineering. We developed the eco-engineering bottle press, a second generation 2-in-1 manual reduction tools built entirely from local wood leftover. It requires zero electricity and achieve a 90% volume reduction for PET bottles and cans. The system effectively segregates materials like plastic and styrofoam, while the lower section safely captures the liquid product of leaching from. Okay, for organic waste, we close the loop using BSF Maggot Bioconservation. Instead of leaving organic matter to rot in a pit, it's processed into high-value assets, solid compost for the Untan tropical ecosystem, and harvest maggot used as animal feed for local communities.
All right. We actually measure the environmental impact of this research of ours that we have did some tests on the pilots, and we found that our uh, our waste compactor actually can reduce the volumes of PET bottles and other type of waste by up to 90% of the volume, massively decrease the truck trips needed to actually deliver the waste to the landfills. Means equals lower carbon footprints every single day in Pontianak City. Okay, on the financial and social sustainability, one of the components are infrastructures, which is the whole mechanics. Most of these are made from wood and waste from scraps like metals. Requires minimal funds for maintenance or new mechanism. For the operations, it is entirely community participation. We rely on people to use the mechanisms, and it can also be jobs for student council, student cleaning crews to like pick up the trash nearby and compress them. So the last components is direct revenue. So most of the compressed bottles and cardboards can be sold to recyclers, which will give us sustainable fundings for student organizations so that we can do more research on waste sorting. The last waste sorting that we will do. This is only phase 1, which is the pilot study. We also have phase 2, 3, and 4, which is making a waste management facility based on recycling, reuse, and reintegration. And phase 3, which is circular economy integration, and phase 4, which is tropical green campus, which is the main reason we are doing all of this. Okay, so
Okay, so back to the and just starting practically change the word. Our answer is definitely yes. Starting is the crucial process when you back up with engineering like our first mechanism and biology like our method. Small action at Untan becomes a global solution for sustainability. Thank you very much. I will come and questions for feedback.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Universitas Tanjung Pura team. Okay. Thank you to the team from Universitas Tanjung Pura for the inspiring presentations. I think your innovations show that simple and sustainable solutions can make a real environment impact, especially within university communities. And it's really great. Okay. I think I learned and I gained so many insight for these sessions. Okay. Let's move on to the next sessions. Wait a second. Okay, so we for this session we'll have Q&A. So to all participants, if you guys have any questions, you can just write down your questions, and also don't forget to mention the team that you want to ask to the chat box. Or if you guys have any question and want to ask directly to the speaker, you can it's also allowed. You can just unmute yourself and ask directly to the speaker. Okay, but since I already saw so many questions on the chat box, let me help to read the questions one by one first. Okay, let me scroll it down first. Ooh, okay. Okay, so for the first questions, I think I will invite a Malaysia team, the Korean Vocational College, to answer the questions. Okay, so the questions is from Mr. Miguel. He asked to Team Malaysia. So what is the biggest challenge Malaysia faces in trash sorting?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, sure. So the questions from Mr. Miguel is, what is the biggest challenge Malaysia faces in trash sorting?
Can you give me a minute to discuss?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank
Please
you.
take your time.
Okay, thank you for the question. The biggest challenge is changing public behavior. Although the government has introduced policies, not everyone follows them consistently. Many recyclable materials are still mixed with general waste. Therefore, awareness and enforcement must continue to improve. So that is my answer for that question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss, for a good answer. Okay, maybe let's move on to the next questions. Okay. Wait a second. Okay, now I would like to invite the Philippines team, the John B team to answer the questions. Okay, so this question is actually for all teams. The question is from Miss Maifa. So, do your schools have their own materials recycling facility, and are they being operated? And second, how are students in your school made aware of recycling and optimal use of materials? I think I would like to invite the Philippines team first to answer the questions.
Most schools do
Good
not
day,
have
ma'am.
materials recovery facilities, MRF,
Okay.
due to cost and space limitations. So instead they usually rely on basic recycling bins or collection points where materials are separated before being collected by local constructor or recycling companies. These systems are generally operational, but the level of efficiency depends on students' participation and regular collection by local authorities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for Malaysia team. Okay, now I would like to invite the Philippines team to answer the questions.
Good day once again, ma'am, and thank you so much for that question. To answer the first question, ma'am, here at John B. Bacolod, unfortunately, we do not have any MRF. However, there are several areas around the institution where recyclable materials such as paper, plastic bottles, and other usable waste are collected and sorted, in which it is also properly managed with a series of indicators for our students also. All of this, especially our garbages here in our institution, is then given to our local LGU garbage trucks, since in our city, we do have materials recovery facility. And to answer your second question, ma'am, here in John B. Bacolod, Philippines, students are made aware of recycling and proper use of materials through various school programs and activities. And we do also have an organization for environmental protection, which is called Earth Guard. This organization conducts orientations, environmental seminars, cleanup drives, and awareness campaigns that encourages our students to practice proper waste segregation and recycling.
Okay. Oh, wow. I think that's very new to me. The community, that's very good. Okay, thank you for the answer. Maybe for still on the same questions, I would like to invite Universitas Tanjung Pura team to answer the questions. If you guys want me to read the questions again, just let me know. Okay, so for Untan team.
All right. All right. First, I'm going to read the question from Kira, which is your innovation focus on low cost and sustainable engineering. How important is creativity in solving environmental problems in local communities, and what advice would you give to students who want to start environmental projects on campus but feel they lack resources or support? Okay, so on how important is creativity in solving environmental problems in local communities? I think it's the most important part of in solving environmental problems. Why is that? Because so most of the problems in local communities is that people do not actively sort their waste or just sort their waste. So like we are lacking in most of the local communities are not very prone or active in sorting their waste, so that we have to find new and creative ways for that to make the process way easier and way more sustainable. So that, and my advice to give to students that feel that they lack resources or support is that to first try and make a project as small as it is, because this project of ours took entirely from waste. We made everything from scraps. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Abizar, for your good answer. Okay, but please, next, let me choose the questions and then you can answer the questions later. But thank you so much, Mr. Abizar. Okay, next, let's move on to the next questions. Okay, maybe I would like to invite the Korean Vocational College to answer the questions. Okay, so the questions is from second. Okay. Okay. So the question is from Rifda. She would like to ask two questions. So for the first questions, you mentioned the concept of a circular economy. How can young people contribute to this system beyond simply sorting trash? Maybe you can answer that question first before the second questions.
Young people can support a circular economy by reducing consumption, such as avoiding unnecessary purchase and single-use items. They can also reuse and repair items, for example, fixing gadget, sharing resource, or using second-hand goods, instead of buying new ones. In addition, they can support a sustainable brand and spread awareness through a social media to influence wider behavior challenge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the good answer. Maybe for the second questions, let me read it first. Do you believe individual actions like waste sorting are enough to change the world, or do we also need stronger actions from governments and industries, and why? You may also please to answer the questions for Malaysia team.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Do you believe individual actions like waste sorting are enough to change the world? Or do we also need stronger action from governments and industries? And why?
Okay. Individual actions are important because they build good habits and reduce waste at the source, but they are not enough on their own. Large-scale change requires government, policies, and industry responsibility, such as laws, recycling systems, and sustainable production practices. Real impact happens when individual behavior, government actions, and industry support and work together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. But do you personally think that we need action from governments and industries? Yes. Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, I hope it's answering your questions, Rifda, and thank you for the Malaysia team. Next, let's move on to the next questions. Is from wait a second. Okay, so next question will be from Johanna. I would like to invite Indonesia team to answer the questions to Untan student. Yeah. So okay. So first questions. Okay. In your opinion, can simple innovations like the Eco Green Bottle Prize be realistically implemented in other universities or public spaces? Do you think it will be easy to implement it to other universities? The Untan student could answer the questions from Johanna.
Okay. Yes, absolutely, because the Eco Green Bottle Press requires zero electricity, is highly affordable, and achieves a 90% volume reduction. It serves as a realistic global blueprint. Its mechanical simplicity means it does not depend on complex technology, making it easily replaceable in any public space through community participation.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss, for the good answer. Okay, let's move on. I hope it's answering your questions, Miss Johanna. And then for the next questions, I would like to invite the Philippines team to answer. The question is from Nurul. So, hi, Philippines team. Good presentations, by the way. I'm Shazwani from Malaysia. Oh, it's different. I'm Shazwani from Malaysia. Just concerns, does marine pollution involve plastic only? And how about marine pollution came from suspended drill cuttings and sedimentations during oil and gas explorations? Can it be sorting before release and process them on land to avoid marine pollution, which is cost effective and gain more positive results?
Good day, ma'am, sir. Thank you again for that question and appreciating our presentation. To answer your first two questions, marine pollution does not only involve plastics. It can also include pollution from oil spills, chemical waste, suspended drill cuttings, and sedimentation from offshore oil and gas operations, which can harm our marine ecosystems and water quality. To answer your third and fourth question, sir, if we base it on research, drill cuttings and sediments can be treated or sorted before release, and some can even be transported to land for proper processing and disposal. While offshore treatment and discharge are usually more cost-effective, processing waste on land gives better long-term environmental results because it reduces marine contamination and protects biodiversity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your good answer. Okay, I hope it's answering your questions, Ms. Shazwani. Okay, let's move on to the next questions. Wait a second. Okay, maybe for the last questions, I would like to invite the Malaysia team to answer the questions. So the questions is from Miss Johanna. Okay, this is the last questions. Many students understand the importance of recycling, but still do not practice it daily. How can universities encourage students to build long-term waste sorting habits?
Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the question is from Miss Johanna. The question is, many students understand the importance of recycling, but still do not practice it daily. How can universities encourage students to build long-term waste sorting habits?
I'm sorry, I have some problem here. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the questions is, many students understands the importance of recycling but still do not practice it daily. How can universities encourage students to build long-term waste sorting habits? Wait a second, I can help you to write it down here. Okay, can you see it on the chat box? I already sent you the questions.
Okay, thank you for the question. Okay. Universities can place clearly labeled recycling bins in all key areas such as hostels, cafeterias, and lecture halls. They can also run regular programs, competition, or reward system to encourage consistent participation. Most importantly, recycling habits will be included in campus rules and student orientation activities so it becomes a normal daily practice. So that is my answer for that question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Malaysia team, for the answer. Okay, I think we still have time for the last questions. Okay, I would like to invite the Philippines team to answer the questions. The question is from Mr. Romeo Guilhem. So, hello, Kabayan. Questions: how to reduce solid waste materials in Republic Act 9001, environmental solid waste management according our Philippines globally organizations, some others Filipino without cooperations or control, either discipline to proper waste disposal. Okay, well, I can help you to write it down, the questions. Can you guys see it on the chat box? So that's the question from Mr. Romeo.
Yes. So thank you for that question, Kabayan. So in correction, it is the Republic Act number 9003 of reducing used plastics and following the rules. So solid waste can be reduced through proper waste segregation, recycling, reducing single-use plastics, and following the rules under the Republic Act number 9003. So cooperation and discipline from every Filipino are important, along with stronger implementation of environmental laws, community education, and support from local governments and organizations.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope it is answering your questions, Mr. Romeo. Thank you for the Philippines team. Okay, I think we going to end the first session for the Q&A sessions. Once again, thank you so much for Malaysia and then also the Philippines team and also from the Indonesian team for the presentations. And then next, let's move on to the next agenda. Okay, so for the next agenda is the second round. We will have student from University Technology Brunei and also student from Sobhanovong University Laos. Okay, so for the first speaker for this session, we will have Mr. Wang Ho from University Technology Brunei. Okay, so Mr. Hong, are you already here with us? Can you say hi?
Hello, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, without any further ado, the time and screen is yours.
All right, the screen's up, yeah?
Okay, yeah, already.
Okay. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'll be doing a case study out to show you what waste management is like in Brunei. Okay, next slide. So in Brunei, we have a very small population. It's around 500,000, make it around 400,000. And we're amongst the highest in the region in terms of waste generated per capita, which is we're standing at around 1.4 kilograms per person per day. Now, if you compare, it's difficult to compare, but if we use Japan as an example, because Japan is a leading example of very good waste management, they're at 0.8 and we're at 1.4, even though we have a much smaller population. Similar to Malaysia, our food waste composition, most of it is made out of food, up to 36% is followed by paper and then plastics. And most of the waste comes from our district, Brunei Mora district, which has the highest population. So after hearing the previous presentations, I think I'll be a bit more, I'll cut out some of the points because some of them are repeated. So I'll explain what I think is most important for the average viewer in this conference. So it's very important to appreciate what a circular economy. You hear this term a lot, especially now with all the sustainability talks and so forth. Circular economy, in simple terms, it means that we want to use something as instead of using it once and you throw it away, we want to use it as long as possible. And in other words, this is also known as integrated solid waste management. Again, very, very fancy words, but the meaning is still the same. Now you can see here, I put here a waste hierarchy is 1 to 7. So ideally, instead of if we can prevent something from being produced, like a plastic water bottle, if we don't need it, we should prevent it. But if we can't prevent, at least we should reduce it. If we can't reduce it, then we should reuse it. But if we can't reuse it, we should repair it or repurpose it. And if we can't do that, we should recycle it or compost it. And if we can't do that, we should try to recover energy from it. But if you can't recover energy from it, then the last worst option that's available to you is to dispose it. And usually it's into the landfill. So this is roughly the rough idea of what circular economy is all is, and this is what integrated solid waste management is all about. You wanna try not to do landfill, because landfill is like the worst option. Okay, moving on. So in Brunei, most of our waste ends up in a landfill, up to 70%. And Sungai Paku, that landfill site is called Sungai Paku. It is one of our only landfill, and it's almost full. It'll be full by 2030, a few more years to go. And only 2% of our waste is being composted. and the remainder is being discarded through conventional methods. I'll not explain through that. Now, so this is all technical. You can have a quick run through. But the point is, most of our waste ends up in the landfill. And why is this bad? Because when you have all of your rubbish going into the landfill, and most of it is made out of food, through
Okay,
organic
sorry, let me
reaction,
stop and mute.
respiration, this produces a product called methane, CH4. And methane is a greenhouse gas. It's very much stronger than carbon dioxide. So when you have all these waste go into the landfill and the landfill just produce a lot of methane and it goes into the atmosphere, and that's very bad. So ideally, we want to reduce the amount of waste going to the landfill. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So here's the weakness in Brunei's side. We don't have a national policy we don't really have like a national framework to deal with waste management. And we do have a fine that if you get caught discarding rubbish when you're not supposed to, you do get fined. This is the amount subject to the context. And again, this is one to highlight, there is no initiatives to segregate the waste at the household. So at the house, within the family household, there is no national incentive to encourage families to separate their waste at home. We also don't have enough recycling facilities in the country, and there's a very good reason for it. Okay, all right. So move on to the next slide. Our recycling industries in Brunei, they heavily depend on trash from other countries, meaning they cannot get enough things to recycle within Brunei. There's not enough things to recycle. But we produce a lot of waste. How does that make sense? Now, if I were to go back to this waste hierarchy, the purpose of this conference, right, is to appreciate why is waste sorting, can it change the world? It can. Think of it this way. When you separate your trash at home, you keep the plastics in the plastic section, the glass in the glass, the metals in the metals. You give the recycling companies a very easy time to recycle. If you mix your food, you mix all the things together, it's very difficult for the recycling company to separate the trash. It makes it more expensive. And for them, recycling is a business and they're operating on everyday expenses. It's not sustainable. So when you have a country that does not separate their waste, everything just mixed together, recycling companies, they can't work with that. And furthermore, since the recycling companies, they cannot recycle, then that's essentially a big section of that's a big gap in the process. You can't recycle, then of course you have to throw it in the landfill. So actually this topic of waste management, this segregation is very straightforward. We again, the previous presentation has already shown what is the obvious solution to all this. And if you're doing like a research, if you're a researcher, we cannot say solution. We can only say recommendations. What can we recommend to improve things? So obviously these are the things that you can even Google it. It's quite obvious. But number one, increase awareness. But again, there's another issue. I think people nowadays are generally quite aware that it's better for you to segregate your waste. But even if they're aware, how do you make sure that they actually follow that through? So that is something that we struggle quite a lot. It's easy to say you have to enforce policies and laws and regulations, but you also have to consider that it's not easy for the government side to also enforce it. There needs to be a balance. For example, in Brunei, you cannot expect the families to segregate their trash at home, to separate the waste, when in reality, when the garbage truck comes and picks up the trash, it just gets mixed up all over again. So there's no point to actually separate the trash at home. But at the same time, if there is recycling infrastructure in Brunei, if when they go to the house and then the trash is all mixed up, it also doesn't work. So clearly, this is a very a lot of gears into play. Everyone needs to work together to make this work. So this is why if you study environmental engineering and if you study this in more in depth, you go into point number 6, integrated solid waste management, ISWM. It's very popular. So what this means, ISWM, this is a framework that tackles all the problems that we've discussed throughout this conference. We want to make sure that we are following this hierarchy, waste hierarchy. If it can be prevented, we prevent it. If cannot, reduce it, and so forth. Then in this way, we can do a circular economy and so on. So what is going on in Brunei right now, what we're trying to do, it's all awareness, which Brunei is pushing really hard on the awareness campaign. But again, it's very difficult to change the culture and the habits of people. And it doesn't happen immediately. It doesn't happen overnight. So this is something that will take time to slowly educate the people. And from my experience, I've learned from a lot of senior people. Their advice is you have to target the children, because when you teach the children, they can bring home the practice to their parents, and then they'll encourage their families from home. So educating the children is very important. And I quote, "It's not easy to change the habits of an adult. It's easier to do it through the children." So that is just a suggestion. It's not really proven, but yeah, this is I'm sharing with you guys. Okay, so this is the last bit. I overlooked this part. You see, one part of waste management is incineration. They want to burn the garbage. Okay, they call it an incinerator. But again, as I previously mentioned, when you have a lot of food in your waste, food is wet. It's very difficult to burn wet food. So in Brunei, an incinerator was not an option. Until today, we still do not have an incinerator because most of our waste has food in it and it's wet. It's very difficult to burn, keep the combustion going. Yeah, and also we're not like Malaysia. Malaysia has a lot of plantations, like palm tree plantations. They have a lot of the trees, the leaves. They can use that to supplement their incinerators. But in Brunei, we're a small country, very limited land. We don't have these fuel to fund the incinerators. That is just an example, moisture content. You also need to consider the density of the waste, the permeability, and so forth. Okay, I think I'll wrap up this one. Any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, wow. You seem so understand about your material. That's very cool. Okay, thank you to Mr. Hong from University Technology Brunei for the informative presentations. Yeah, I think we learned a lot about the challenge and also possible solutions in creating a more sustainable waste management systems from Mr. Hong today. Okay, next, the second, let me share my screen. Okay, now let's move on to our last speaker for the second session. We will have Miss Lina Nilafong from Subhanallah University Laos. Okay, to Miss Lina, are you okay? Okay, without any further ado, the time on screen is yours.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Can you see the screen and hear my voice clearly?
Oh yes, I can see your PowerPoint very clear.
Okay, so I will start. So okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I want to talk about a question that seems simple, but it's actually very important. Can sorting trash really change the world? Okay. Well, every day we throw away plastic bottle, food containers, paper, cans, and many other things. Most people never think about what happened after trash leave their house. But trash does not just simply disappear. Some ends up in landfills, some goes into rivers and oceans, some is burned, causing air pollution. And sadly, millions of animals are affected by waste every year. And according to the global reports, the world produces more than 2 billion tons of waste every year. And this number is increasing as the populations grow and people consume more products. At first, Sorting trash may seem like a very small action. Some people even think it doesn't matter at all. But today, I will explain how trash sorting affects environment, why some countries have succeeded in it, and what problems still exist, and whether this small habit can actually help change the world. So first, let's understand what trash sorting actually means. Trash sorting means separating waste into different categories instead of throwing everything into one bin. For example, recyclable materials like plastic bottles, paper, glass can be processed and used again to create new products. Organic waste such as leftover food, fruit peels can be turned into compost. Hazardous waste like batteries and chemical need special treatment because it can pollute soil and water if handled incorrectly. And finally, there is general waste, which cannot easily be recycled. So why is sorting important? Because when all trash is mixed together, recyclable materials often become dirty or contaminated. This makes recycling much harder or even impossible. For example, if food waste leaks onto paper or cardboard, those materials may no longer be recycled. So sorting trash is the first step in giving waste a second life instead of throwing it away forever. So how exactly does trash sorting help the environment? Well, first, it reduces pollution because when recyclable materials are reused, factories don't need to produce as many new products from raw materials. And this helps reduce air pollution, water pollution, and industrial waste. And second, sorting trash helps save natural resources. For example, recycling papers help reduce deforestation because fewer trees need to be cut down. And recycling metal reduces mining, which damages ecosystem and use a lot of energy. And third, sorting trash help reduce the amount of waste sent to landfill. Well, we know that landfill are not just ugly piles of garbage. They also produce methane gas, which is a powerful greenhouse gas that contributes to the climate change. And food waste, especially harmful in landfill because it rots and releases methane in the atmosphere. And another major issue is plastic pollution because every year millions of tons of plastic enter the ocean. Sea turtles, fish, and birds often mistake plastic for food, which can seriously harm or kill them. So by sorting and recycling plastic, we can help reduce the amount of waste entering nature. And one interesting fact is that recycling aluminum cans save up to 90% of the energy needed to produce new aluminum from new materials. This shows that recycling can save enormous amount of energy and resources. And these are real examples around the world. So these countries show us that trash sorting can be extremely effective if supported by a good system. For example, in Japan, people are very careful about separating their waste. In some cities, residents must follow sorting detailed rules for like plastic bottle, paper, glass, and even different type of packaging. And if trash sorted incorrectly, it may even be returned to the owner. And um, in Germany, recycling programs are very highly organized, and the country has one of the highest recycling rates in the world because both citizens and company participate actively. And another interesting example is South Korea. In South Korea, the country has one of the strongest food waste recycling programs because they collect food waste separately and turn them into compost, animal feed, or bioenergy. So these countries prove that trash sorting can create real environmental improvement. Okay, next slide. However, trash sorting is not perfect and it also has limitation. One major problem is that many people still sort their waste incorrectly. For example, food left inside containers can contaminate recyclable materials. And another challenge is that recycling costs money because city needs truck, recycling center, workers, and machines to process waste properly. And perhaps, and also, not all materials can be recycled forever. Some plastic can only be recycled a limited number of times before becoming unusable. And perhaps the biggest issue is that the world still produces too much waste, especially single-use plastic. This means sorting trash alone cannot completely solve environmental problem because oh, I'm sorry. We also need to reduce waste production, improve packaging, and encourage company to become more environmentally responsible. Okay, so this is what we can do personally. We know that even though one person cannot solve entire global waste problem alone, but our daily action still matters. We can start by sorting our trash at home and learning which materials can be recycled properly. We can reduce plastic waste by using reusable bottles, containers, and shopping bags. We can also avoid buying unnecessary product with excessive packaging. And of course, trash sorting is not enough, but small daily habits may seem unimportant at first, but when people make better choice every day, the impact become very powerful. And to conclude, of course, that trash sorting may seem like a very small and simple action, but it's definitely have a meaningful impact on the world. Like it reduce pollution, save natural resources, protect wildlife, and reduce the effect of the climate change. And of course, sorting trash alone is not enough. Governments, companies, and communities must also improve waste management system and reduce unnecessary waste products. Sorry. But if individuals and society work together, even small daily habits can create significant environmental change. So, can sorting trash really change the world? Maybe not overnight, but it's definitely an important step toward a cleaner and more sustainable future. Thank you so much.
Wow, it's very good presentations. Thank you, Miss Lina, from South Hanong University for the good presentations. I think it's reminded us that small actions like sorting trash and reducing plastic use can help create positive environmental change. And we can do it together, yeah, just not alone. Okay, now let's move on to the next sessions, which is the Q&A sessions. Let me share my screen first. Okay, now for the Q&A session 2. So once again, I would like to remind all participants, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask to the speaker, you can ask directly to the speaker by unmute yourself, or you can also just type it on the chat box and I will help you to read it. Okay, but since I think we already have so many questions on the chat box, let me start to read it first. Okay, wait a second. Okay, I think for the first questions, I would like to invite Mr. Hong from Brunei team. Okay. Okay, it's very interesting. So I want to give the questions from the Philippines team. Wow, okay. It will be a very good discussions here. Okay, so the Philippines team, which is Mr. Rai Angelo, asked, this question is for the Brunei team. Thank you for your insightful presentations, Brunei team. You mentioned encouraging voluntary recycling targets for commerce and industry as one solution to waste management. Could you share your insight on how Brunei balances economic development with environmental sustainability while encouraging industries to participate in these efforts?
Okay, thank you, Philippines, for that. Let me read through that in a bit. Okay,
Yeah,
so how
sure.
does Brunei balance economic development with environmental sustainability? Yeah, I'm assuming this is in the context of waste management. So as you can see, the majority of the recommendations and solutions that we have seen throughout the presentations from all the different teams is more awareness. So waste management, a lot of the power lies in the people, in the families, the households. So I think to relate it to economic development is a bit I'm not sure how to answer that right now, but all I know is it starts from home. So to promote environmental sustainability, it starts from home within the families, then it goes up from there. It's very difficult to go from top down. You can, but only if the government is enforcing certain rules and regulations, then it's probably possible if they have to be very strict on it. But that is not always the case. So if that's not always the case, then we have to do it slowly then through education, awareness. It starts from the home. Yeah. Thanks for the question, but I'm sorry I can't answer it to your satisfaction. But thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Hong, for the good answer. Maybe from Mr. Ray, is that answering your questions, or maybe you have a follow-up questions. You can also just unmute yourself. Okay, but while waiting, let's move on to the next questions. Oh, wait a second. Okay, I already found questions for Laos team for Miss Lina. So this question's from Miss Melodia. So South Korea turns food waste into energy and compost. Do you think this system could work effectively in Southeast Asian countries? Why or why not? And one of the challenges mentioned is that people often sort waste incorrectly. What do you think is the best way to educate communities about proper waste sorting?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. It's quite interesting question because every day after we have meals, people usually have like food waste left. So I think the best way to educate people is to give education for them, like maybe a project to go to school. And I am also like the environmental volunteer, and I have an experience to like go to secondary school to teach them how to sort trash and how to turn trash into compost. And I think it's quite a good way because we can start from education, and we know that education is important. And if we give these education like environmental education for children, they from young people, they will help us a lot, and they will be the future of us, and of course they will help us a lot. Thank you.
Wow, okay. Thank you so much, Miss Lina. It's very interesting to hear the answer. Okay, I hope it's answering your questions, Miss Melody. Okay, let's move on to the next questions. I would like to invite Brunei team again, Mr. Ho, to answer the questions. So, okay, for now, we have question from. Okay, wait a second. Okay. Wait a second. Okay. Okay,
If
so
it's
this
okay, I want
question.
to answer the incinerator question by
Oh, yeah.
USER.
The previous one or the newest one? Do you have the previous questions? Do you mean
Yeah,
the
about
previous?
incinerators
Yeah,
at
yeah, sure.
4:22 p.m. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you can read it out. Maybe you can read it out. Maybe there's some cannot see the chat.
Wait a second. Which one? Like the previous one, right?
Yes, this one, yes.
From Mr. Ray, right? Okay. So this question is okay, let me. So you mentioned encouraging voluntary recycling targets for commerce and industry as one solution to waste management. Could you share your insight on how Brunei, not this one?
The wrong question. Okay.
Wait.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll just carry on. So this question asks is USER at 4:22 p.m. You're surprised that there's no incinerators in Brunei. So if we don't have incinerators in Brunei, then how do we deal with all the plastic waste? So yes, that's quite spot on. Everything goes into the landfill. Yeah, everything just goes into the landfill. So actually, there is an upcoming plans development. It's a multi-million project for an incinerator in Brunei. This will be our first nationwide scale incinerator, and it's expected to be fully operational in 2029. And the tender for this project was just closed earlier this year. So, but the problem with incinerators is, you see, for an incinerator to be cost effective, you see, it's a multi-million project. It will cost I don't know, a few hundred million maybe, depending on the scale, to invest in just one incinerator. As a government spending the funds, you need to justify why is it necessary to spend that much on an incinerator. Do we need it right now? Is it necessary? Is it urgent? Okay, so so if the government is already spending so much money into this incinerator, then how to justify the cost? You can justify it by making sure that there's a lot of waste going in there, getting incinerated, so that it has value. But in the case of Brunei, we are very small. We're a very small landlocked, no, not landlocked country. We're a very small country of only a population of 400 over 1,000. Actually, we don't produce that much waste. And probably for the whole country, we only need one incinerator. But the question is, all our food, it's all our trash, it's wet. There's so much food in the trash. So if we do not deal with the problem of separating your trash at home, then down the line, when it goes into the incinerator, it's just going to cause more problems. So to me, I think to fully make use of this incinerator that's coming up soon, hope ideally it's not possible right now, but ideally you have we have to have very good culture of separating waste at home. Yeah, thanks for the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ho. Very good explanations. Sorry that I misread the chat box, I guess. Yeah, okay. Next, let's move on to the next questions. I think I would like to invite Miss Lina to answer the questions again. So these questions from Johanna. She actually have two questions, but let me read it for the first question first. So recycling system can be expensive. How can countries with limited budgets still improve their waste management systems? You may answer the first question first.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. This question is also a good question because it quite same in Laos. We also had like limited budgets for like waste management system, but I see that we have like a factory which is we call Patihu factory, which they can help us to make the 100% waste from the trash to become like a product. And I really like this factory because it helps a lot with the waste management. And we also has like many community that help with environment, like the Green Luang Prabang. They also have like the project that called Trash to Table, which they have like a bottle cap and they will contribute it to like a table for the student in the remote area. I think for the low budgets, it may like affect the bigger like landfill or something, but I think if it's low, but people still like work together and they see that environment problem is important. Like they can just don't see it important because it's all around us and we would like to save it together. I think the important is that people work together. Yeah, it's the best solution for it. Thank you.
Okay,
I
thank
hope
you so much
that
for
answering.
explaining. Oh, yeah, I think there are so many ways to make the recycling system like much affordable. Yeah, with so many techniques too. Okay, thank you, Miss Lina. Maybe you can also answer the second questions. Let me read it first. So, even though recycling exists, plastic production continues to increase worldwide. Do you think recycling alone is enough to solve environmental problems? I think it's definitely.
Sorry?
Yeah, you may answer the questions.
Okay, I think of course recycling is not enough because we also have to like reduce using plastic and use like reusable bags or reusable bottle so we can reduce like use plastic waste. Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
helps.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Lina, for your great answer. Okay, next, okay, maybe we still have time for two last questions. Now I would like to invite Mr. Hong Chu from Brunei team. Okay, so this questions is from Rifda. What an insightful presentation from Brunei team, but I would like to clarify two things. Okay, maybe for the first questions, you may answer it first. Since Brunei has limited land available for development and many protected forests, what could happen if waste management problems continue in the future?
Okay, so to those who don't know, in Brunei, we have a rule, a law that we cannot touch 70% of our forests have to stay there. No one can touch it. So it has to be there, has to be protected. So the remaining 30%, that's for development. So what happens if one day that we produce so much waste and then our landfill becomes full and where does the waste go? So uh that's a very embarrassing thing to answer, but you just make another landfill. You find another landfill or you expand the landfill that you currently have, then just dump more waste there. That's just as straightforward as that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting information about Brunei. That is what I think from me. Okay, maybe for the second questions, you can also answer it. So let me help to read it first. So among the solutions presented, education, incentives, policies, and composting initiatives, which one do you believe would have the biggest impact if implemented successfully?
So I think this is also self-explanatory. If tomorrow, if your government suddenly just announce a new rule, every household have to segregate their waste from home. And if you don't follow it, you get fined. I think if they do that, then I'm pretty sure that majority of the population will follow accordingly because they don't want to be fined, they don't want to be punished. So uh, I think to me that's the most straightforward thing to go ahead. But again, that is not always the most appropriate way because not everyone is ready to practice this from home. You know, not everybody has the resources and the culture to start separating their trash from home. Not everyone has the same circumstances. It's depending also on how developed and how what is the education level in that region. Maybe there's some regions with really limited understanding on waste management. If the government just suddenly just implement this law, that's going to make a lot of people very unhappy, and because they don't understand. So yes, it's one thing. Immediate policy, immediate implementation, but that comes at the cost of making people unhappy because they don't understand. Yeah, I think policies is the most straightforward and direct solution to this. Yeah.
Okay, very good explanations. Thank you, Mr. Ho, for answering Rifda's questions. I hope it's answering your questions, Ms. Rifda. And then let's move on to the next questions. Okay, so I would like to invite Ms. Lina Nilafong to answer the questions. So, wait a second. Okay, so this questions is from Mr. Jones. Do you think it's possible to eliminate all the causes of pollution without affecting our community?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, Sure. So, is it possible to eliminate all the causes of pollution without affecting our community?
Oh, I think it's a no. Because if we don't educate people, people don't know the aware of the pollution, like from like burning trash or the gas that come from vehicle. If we don't educate people, people don't know like what happened or what that affect the environment, and it can contribute to the climate change too. So I think that's a no. We have to educate people. Thank you
Yeah,
so
I
much.
agree. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Lina. Okay, maybe I think we still have time for the last questions. Okay, for the last questions, I would like to invite Mr. Hong again from Brunei team to answer the questions from Sayongkur. Okay, so yeah, many critics argue that global corporations use consumer waste sorting campaigns to shift environmental blame away from themselves. How can we enforce strict extended producer responsibility laws instead of just relying on consumer behavior? Proponent, could you read the questions on the chat box? Okay.
Okay. So companies, if I interpret this correctly, some companies, they try to push the blame on pollution onto the consumers, right? So how do we try to shift that responsibility back to the companies? Now, this is actually a very common debate, and this is a very tough. Uh, whose fault is it? Is it the producer's fault or is it the consumer's fault? I mean, the producers are producing what the consumers want. Like every day you drink your coffee, your Starbucks, and so forth. That's why these companies exist. They're there to supply you your demand. But then again, that this is already extending into like psychology, sociology, and economics, and this is into like business tactics and all that. Uh, for Brunei's case, I think that the biggest issue that we have when it comes to waste management is simply that our landfill is becoming fast and is becoming full too quick. We want to extend the life of our landfill. We want it to last as long as possible because we don't want to open up another landfill. And the biggest problem that we have with respect to environmental damages is global warming. The landfill produces a lot of methane. And not to mention, the landfill produces a lot of trash juice. It's called leachate. Leachate is highly contagious, not contagious, harmful to the environment. It seeps under the soil into the groundwater and it contaminates your rivers and your oceans. So these are very it gets there's no straightforward answer, but I've been studying this course for the past year for my master's, and we always come to the same conclusion. The easiest way to tackle this is from the home. In this case, is from consumer behavior. It's quite difficult to start from the top down, but rather from the bottom up in this case. Yeah. So that's quite a tough question. I thank you for asking this, but I apologize if I can't give you a straightforward answer because I don't think there's a straightforward answer for this one. Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Oh, nice. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Hong, for the very good explanations. I hope it's answering your questions, guys. Okay, I think we're going to in our second sessions for the Q&A sessions because we already run out of time. Okay, once again, thank you so much for Brunei team, Mr. Hong, and also Miss Lina from Sophomore University, Laos. Okay, next, let's move on to our next session, which is the group photo. Okay, so I would like to remind all participants to open your camera, and also you can also use our virtual background that can be downloaded on the chat box. So okay, the second, let me stop my screen first. Okay, wow, that's very cool. Okay, once again, thank you so much for all speakers for the great presentations. I believe all participants here learned a lot today and gained so many insights because I personally gained so many insights today. And yeah, I think we have time for all participants to open their camera. Maybe we will wait for about another 30 seconds. While waiting, I would like to remind to all participants, you guys can also follow our main account, which is the pasita.educations. My partner will send it to the chat box. So we will keep updating about our events and also share about our events through that social media. So you guys can also follow our social media, pasita.educations. Okay, I think we already have so many participants that already opened their camera. Maybe I can help to count it down, and my partner, please help me to screenshot it. Okay, let me count it down. One. Okay, please smile, guys. 1, 2, 3. Okay, nice. And then for the second slide. Okay, for the second slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's very cool. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. Very good. Okay, thank you so much, guys, once again, to all participants that already joined our events today, and also to all of our speakers. It's a very pleasure to have you guys here in our events. And to all participants, don't forget to fill in the attendance link that will be sent by my partner. And yeah, so see you guys on our future events. See you guys. Thank you. And to all speakers, you guys will get the certificates later, yeah. Okay, thank you guys, and see you. Bye-bye. Hi. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Don't forget
To
to
all participants, if you haven't received your e-certificate, please kindly check on your spam or junk because the certificate will be sent automatically once you fill in the form. Thank you.
Yes, and hopefully after this event, we all can start more aware in reducing our trash and how we process our trash later. Yeah, because it will affect everything, I guess, from trash. Okay, guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.